This episode is brought to you by Major Spoilers VIP members. Thank you for your support of Major Spoilers and the Major Spoilers Podcast Network. If you would like to become a bronze, silver, or gold VIP member, go to members.majorspoilers.com for more information.
Welcome to Critical Hit, a Major Spoilers podcast. Thank you for downloading and thank you for sharing this episode with a friend. Everyone's here this week. Rob's here, Brian's here, Matthew's here, Sam is here, and Rodrigo is here. And I guess we should get into it, Rodrigo.
All right. So, last time
on Critical Hit.
What did happen last time on Critical Hit?
I could not tell you.
We staked some things out.
Oh, Randus bought some drugs, apparently.
Mushrooms. They did not seem to have any psychotropic properties, despite Sakar's attempts to fool Randus.
Sakar's excellent bluff check. Thank you very much. And there was a wall.
Yes.
Yes.
We were currently disguised as construction workers and trying to come up with a way to get between one side of a very well-guarded place and another side of it.
We're thinking about sneaking over a wall to do some reconnoiter.
Or doing some forgeries or something. Hey, what if we just got everybody hats?
Yeah.
Could we just get everybody magic hats of disguise?
For those of you listening at home, that's the 15th time you've asked the question, and the first time we have.
I mean, that would help in terms of giving us all +5 bluff checks, but we still wouldn't necessarily have, know exactly who we should be disguising ourselves as until we maybe scale this wall and get a better idea of who's on the other side.
Yeah.
But it would ameliorate the question of switchy.
Sorry. Are you saying this in character or out of character?
I think we're just as a team spitballing ideas.
There's really the main reason why it's not a bad idea for everybody to have a hat of disguise, but the reason why a hat of disguise won't simply solve your problems is basically 2 words. Papers.
Dungeon Master?
Please.
Oh.
Papers, please. We would like to see your papers.
Well, I think we had said after we looked over the wall and saw what we were facing, I think we said something about forging some documents.
Yeah, and that's why we got the idea of going through the wall so we could have a better idea of what documents we actually need to forge. Because we have no idea what kind of IDs or, clearance papers or anything like that people are flashing on the other side.
Problem is, though, if we go over the wall, or if one person goes over the wall, you're kind of on your own.
Yes.
Well, no.
Well, so we I believe I had left off at the end of last session with the idea that Sparkle was going to climb the wall, and Randus was going to use his crazy jump through the wall.
Yeah.
And then I think the 2 of us were both going to have invisibility potions that Randus had worked up.
Can I offer Can I offer one sort of thing to that?
Sure.
If Sakar goes, Sakar has the ability to come back. And I believe Randus' ability to get over there is a daily, isn't it?
No, it's an encounter.
Yeah.
It's an encounter? Okay.
Yeah, it's his racial.
What's Sakar's ability to come back?
Sakar has the ability to phase through a wall if we can just find a place.
I thought that was explicitly the daily, whereas Randus's was the encounter power.
No.
Nope. He can just do that anytime he charges, but he has to, presumably have something to charge.
Right.
And the bank took away his line of credit.
Can he just charge the wall, or does he actually?
I think we specifically disallowed that previously.
Yeah.
So it sounds like unless we can find a bull on the other side of this wall, that you actually don't have a way to get through or back.
I would let him do it. I would let him.
I have a power that allows me to phase without charging.
Oh, there you go.
Or he could just charge one of you once you're on the other side of the wall.
Again, I have a power that allows me to phase without charging.
And it's an encounter power?
It's actually a feature. It's under my class features. But it may require me to be in a situation where there's a turn because it says I'm using a move action in place of a standard.
No, you can.
Okay.
Should be able to do that anyway.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't actually have to charge to do that because I got 2 phasey things, and now I know what it means. Woohoo!
Well then, yeah, if Randus had time to whip up a third potion of invisibility, then all 3 of us going over the wall, or through over whatever the wall, is not the worst idea I've ever heard, because if that way, at least if we get into a fight, it's less screwed.
Do you guys have a power to teleport someone with you in those phases?
No.
I do not.
Okay.
But I can mark an adjacent enemy if that helps.
A valuable or a good point, because if stuff goes down, both Sekar and Randus, assuming that Randus gets a break in between when he teleports and things go down, have a way to get back, but Sparkle doesn't, except for climbing up a wall.
Yeah, but Sparkle's got a lot of ways to just, like, disappear and possibly hide until the heat goes off.
So what about? So instead of going over the wall to look for papers, what about? Is there a way to just like pickpocket somebody who's coming out from their daily routine?
While we were observing, we didn't see a lot of people leaving. Did we?
But we assume that that's a shift change thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a corridor through which people leave. That's where all the checkpoints are. And when you guys came in, you saw the entrance to that district.
Right.
All of the districts in this part of town basically have a gated entrance. So you could try to pickpocket someone on their way out, but you'd be in essentially this plaza surrounded by guards where they're constantly
Looking for
people in and
pickpockets.
out. Well, not necessarily looking for pickpockets, but, people coming in and out all the time.
And shady people who are just lingering around looking for someone to pickpocket.
So again, I'm not shooting any ideas down. I'm just making sure you guys know the potential complications of things.
Sure. Yeah, and the problem is that even if we pickpocket someone coming out of District 1, we don't actually have a good indication that they're from District 3, which is what we need. And specifically someone coming out of the Black Archive.
Right. So what should Ket and I do?
You know any good prayers?
No.
I don't know that the gods I pray to are the ones you want me to.
Is there anything that if, say, Ket and Orem were able to achieve a high enough vantage point that they might be able to cast into a theoretical, and by theoretical I mean we're probably going to end up in a combat situation. Like, I know you guys have a lot of fireball-y, frappy stuff, and Ket has stuff
Depends
that
on
curse from a distance.
I mean, if we are on top of a wall, the wall's too high for us to have any kind of a distance effect. I would imagine that it's farther than 10 squares, which is my maximum range.
Yeah, essentially, if you're on top of the wall, you're visible, unless you're specifically using some sort of invisibility thing. The moment one of you is on top of the wall, that'll raise an alarm. If you climb up that building, that was your vantage point, that's going to get you too far away from the courtyard. Not only that, the courtyard is huge. So if these guys end up on the other side of the courtyard, even if you were on the wall, you might end up out of range. There's a lot of armed personnel and like straight up locust tanks over there. You guys should really assume that if a fight breaks out on the other side of the wall, you're toast.
Right.
Like seriously dead toast.
So who has the best of the three of you? Who has the best stealth then?
Little Sparkle.
Okay, between Randus and Sekar.
Randus.
Okay.
What is Randus?
Sekar has a decent dex.
Fair.
Sekar's stealth is not terrible.
I figured the armor would be a bit of a hindrance.
He wears hide, so it's actually not that bad.
Wow, I have a stealth of 19.
Let me see what I have. I have Sakar down.
It's hide armor, which means I'm good at hiding.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I was waiting for that.
Thanks for setting it up.
You're welcome.
I've got Sakar at a stealth of about 12, yeah.
Mm-hmm. How do I have a stealth of 19 then? What is your stealth?
You have boots of elven kind?
Wow. I do.
Yeah, and a huge dex.
Yeah, your dex is one of your highest stats. It's one of your 2 high stats. And you may actually
be trained in stealth now.
Nope. I might be. No, it's not. I'm not.
No, it would be even higher if he was trained.
Yeah.
You should think about training it.
Well, I mean, really...
It'd be better than diplomacy.
That's why I give him those boots. Orm's kind of your secondary ninja, even though, you know...
I do it with flair.
Yeah, he's just like, that's the thing. He's a mystical Feywild creature. He's just naturally good at things.
You know what you call a ninja with flair? A dead ninja.
Well,
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, I think I wish I could come up with something to make it easier. Like, so on one hand, sending just Randus and or Sakar through is good because they can make a hasty escape. On the other hand, Sparkle's the one with all the stealth and thievery, which is probably going to be necessary for finding the right documents that we have to forge.
Right. But I don't think you should go by yourself.
Sure.
I mean, it's okay if the 3 of you want to go. I'm trying to figure out what kind of problems you could get into.
Yeah, I mean...
Or, more importantly, can you get out of the problem you will run into?
Right. In theory, if Randus can teleport in and Sakar can phase in, then Randus can teleport out and Sakar can phase out. The question is, based on, and this is actually a question that probably Sakar is thinking in his head based on information that he totally has that I don't recall because it's been 6 weeks since we recorded. Obviously, a fight situation is going to get us nuked. We know this. We've been told this by the voice in our head. Would there be any possibility of the 2 of them needing to be there to provide temporary cover and or distraction so that little Sparkle can get back over the wall the way she went over it? Voice in my head, he asked. Theoretically.
Are you saying Sakar and Randus creating some sort of distraction? Is that what you're getting at?
Some sort of distraction or just, being an additional target so that she doesn't immediately get zapped if something does happen. I mean, so yeah, those are 2 of the different ways to say the exact same thing.
So creating a distraction is a time-honored tradition to draw heat away from somebody else. The real problem with creating a distraction here is that right now you have a huge advantage in that they don't even know that they're being cased. Right. If you create a distraction, they'll investigate, and then their alert level is going to go up, which may disrupt the shifts that you've already observed, along with other stuff. So,
if we assume that we would only do this at a point where things are starting to go pear-shaped, where it's clear that little Sparkle is in danger and needs to get out.
Right. I would say there's a good... I mean, we don't know. There would probably be some dice rolls involved and some other stuff. But if anybody who, say, sets 1,000 things on fire in the opposite direction that Sparkle's going, will rapidly enter heroic sacrifice territory. There's a lot of firepower on the other side of that wall. Essentially, this is the sort of thing where if you're going over that wall, you can't be seen, because even if you make it out, then they're just going to go into DEFCON 19, or I don't know how DEFCON works, but you know what I'm saying. They're just like,
lower numbers are worse.
Yes.
Than DEFCON negative 19.
No, there you go.
That would be the worst.
And so given that the whole mission is do not be seen at all costs, like maybe it really is just better for Sparkle to go over alone, because I've got a 27 stealth mod.
And if we were to consider the possibility of creating a distraction, then 4 of us could create a distraction in the plaza, which would allow for a lot more escape opportunities than 2 of us within the wall. Maybe.
Not really. The plaza...
I mean, we're all going to die anyway, is what you're telling me.
No, I think it'd probably be at least Randus and Sparkle need to go.
So, assuming that there's nothing weird going on, once anybody's on the other side of the wall, it's going to come down to mostly 2 things, maybe 3. Stealth checks, if you are actually, ninjaing around in the shadows. Bluff checks, if you're pretending like you belong there. And then thievery checks to actually retrieve information, pickpocket people, and, do any sort of things like, getting behind a locked door and hiding there or something like that. So if you don't feel that you can really rely on either your bluff or your stealth, then you might not want to go over the wall. Even if you are otherwise equipped, if you can't rely on your bluff and your stealth, you might not want to go over. I will say that looking like you belong there would situationally qualify Sakar for his bonus. So that is something that he could probably pull off. And again, depending on how you guys go in, it doesn't have to be all stealth checks and all bluff checks. As long as, when somebody goes, hey, you, what are you doing there? The stealthy ones duck behind a barrel, and the bluffy ones are like, but nothing.
Bluffy.
Man. Bluff at you.
Bluffy. Well, I know I can trust my bluff check.
Sure.
Yeah, I
Is that
can't.
true?
That is true. That is 250% true.
See, you just failed your bluff check. Everyone knows that you can't have more than 100%. Guards, seize this man.
Yes. Tell that to every single football coach in the United States of America.
Yeah.
Ha!
They're experts at mathematics.
Look over there.
Seriously, the coach at my high school was the science teacher, and he was clearly hired because he was the coach.
Yes.
Not a scientist.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a little
Sweet.
bit.
All right, well, who's going to go then?
I will go.
We know Sam's going to go. We know Little Sparkle's going to go.
We know Ket and Orm or not.
Yeah.
If
What is
aside from that, you guys want to climb back up the wall or back up the partially constructed buildings and keep a lookout, and you maintain your ritual, like you can serve as eyes in the sky for the people that are going on the other side. So that
That's
helps.
smart.
That's a good call.
I kind of figured we were going to be doing that. Anyway. Like I just assumed that was part of the plan.
I know you're 5 steps ahead of everybody here, Rob. I'm just catching up the audience.
Okay.
Sherlock Holmes it. So, Brandis.
I'm the guy who goes, egad, it's just like a funnel.
Do you trust your stealth and or your bluff? I trust my bluff. I would not buy an expensive car from my stealth, but I might give it a ride to the airport.
Isn't your bluff like +9?
My bluff is +15.
That's not bad.
In
theory?
This
Oh.
instance.
Do we give them the hats then?
Yeah.
Okay, so they'd be able to add another 5 onto that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you then be at?
I think that would just start getting me into the realms
Into the teens?
of
Oh,
decent.
okay.
I would not count on my skills of subterfuge.
Well, we can give you a hat. Or you can make your own.
Yeah.
if it comes down to it,
What's your
trust
stealth,
my-
Randus?
Not a lot.
he's not telling.
Your
So
thievery is
I think
all
I
right,
may
It
isn't
might
it?
just be better for
highest.
you
My thievery
to
is
take
okay.
a potion of invisibility and try to not be seen.
There you go.
Or heard.
How long does the potion
Just
of
be a little kid.
invisibility last, though?
Leave it less for an encounter or until you interact with something.
Are those the ones we brewed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going back to my equipment.
Isn't an encounter like 30 seconds? No, that's a...
No, an encounter is basically a
The whole
scene,
battle.
so-
Yeah.
or until he interacts with something. So
Don't anybody talk to him.
touch nothing but the lamp.
But yeah,
better leave your assistant here.
Artificer skills might be useful in terms of
I think you're right.
This is clearly some kind of trap.
All right, so then here's the plan. Randus, take a hat.
Okay.
Sakaar, take a hat.
Okay.
Randus, have your potion of invisibility just in case.
Okay.
Well,
who's that strange man drinking that bottle? Wait, he's gone. Never mind.
I will also say this. Everybody needs a potion of invisibility to get over or through the wall because they will clearly see you either phase through the wall, appear out of time and space, or climb over it. So at least one potion of invisibility has to be consumed by each person going over the wall in order for this plan to work at all.
Okay.
Ket and I will remain up on top, and we will be using our communication spell, which I believe still is going on for another 6 hours.
I'll allow it. That's fine.
Isn't Sparkle taking one of our climbing gear to get over the wall?
Oh yeah, your boots of walking.
She was taking a boots.
Oh, she was taking my boots. Okay.
Whatever
so we still have our
whatever your
gloves.
ones that allow you to walk
wall
up
walkers.
your wall walkers.
How many invisibility potions did we make?
I do need to walk on a wall.
I didn't write them down.
I'm fine with it having been 3. If that's what you guys want to do now.
Whatever. How much do they cost? Because I said we spent 3,600 for invisibility potions.
Let's look that up.
You did not give me one, so
you're not going.
I don't got one on mine.
I think little Sparkle has them all.
I don't see them written down. Several. I mean, I think it's possible that we just said that we were making them and didn't get to the handing them out phase. So
what you're getting at is it's an elixir of invisibility. And this is a level 16 version. You become invisible until the end of the encounter until you attack. And that's 1,800 per potion.
So 3 of them, right?
So we made 3 then.
No,
2. Yeah,
we made 2. Because at the time it was just going to be like me and Randus, because we hadn't realized that Sakaar had a phasing ability.
All right, well then we can add one more on there, and
takes an hour.
So Team Sword Fist will be invisible.
Yes, you've been working on that during this whole time we've been discussing our plans.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what happened. We totally saw that. So while we're invisible, there's no need for us to pretend to be doing something. But in case we become visible, we need to be in a no, never mind.
Well, that's why you two are getting your hats so that you can pretend that you're one of those people walking around.
So the hats bump up our
bluff by 5.
Yeah. So I would recommend, if at all possible, do not break your invisibility. Just try to stay invisible.
That is the plan.
Well, you can wear a hat and be invisible, and
yes, but it should be invisibility is like
the
defense
primary,
number 1.
Yeah. But I mean,
should
just
the invisibility be broken for any reason, then bluffy bluff.
Right.
As necessary.
All right. Sounds like we have a plan.
We do have a plan.
I'm so skeptical of this plan.
At least the first step. Then what are you going to do when you're over there, little Sparkle?
With this plan.
No, I'm skeptical about anyone who's not me going over this wall.
What is the plan once you get over there?
Through the wall.
My plan is to basically wander around and see what I can see, try to figure out what people are flashing in terms of ID, what people are presenting in terms of clearance, get a few good looks at people's faces that we might be able to disguise ourselves at, see if we can overhear some names. Basically just, try to absorb as much information as possible.
Are you even going to plan to attempt to go to the tower?
Oh, good God, no.
That's way...
Well, I didn't know because, if you're seeing the bunkers there, to see if there was any kind of separate pass or something that you need to get in to the bunkers and then to the other side. Because I don't know what those people are doing, just milling around, if they're having jobs there in the square or what.
I mean, we can play it by ear with me reporting in telepathically, but I'm going to try to stick to the perimeter as much as possible.
All right.
See if I can get useful information that way.
Okay. Well, I think there's a plan.
Remember, we're not just a couple of jabronis. We're the tag team champions of the Civil War in Diamond Throne.
That's right. Which you won by ridiculous force and not subtlety in any way.
quiet, you. I'm making a point here.
All right. It's all right.
And you
And
have
he's
entirely
countermanding it.
unrelated skills. Yay!
Yeah, I thought it was one with science.
With his hat on, I have a better bluff than
was
you do, young
one
man.
by
No, you
ludicrous
don't.
super science.
Still science. Is there any other kind?
Yeah. All right. So, what do you guys do?
I walk through walls.
And break. Ket and I climb back up the tower.
Okay.
We should probably do this one in shifts. That way we can write down any information they pull up.
I mean, we can't
That
just
way
write
we
it from up there on top of the
Weren't we hanging
37th
off
floor?
of, like, girders?
I'm imagining there's a crossbeam that we're standing on too. And
There's got to be some ability or some skill you can roll to be able to write on a while you're on a beam. I'll tell you what, if you can make me an acrobatics check while you're up there, I'll let you write whatever you want.
Now do you trust your acrobatics?
No.
no, I don't either.
That's
All right. So in that case, yeah, good call there, Kat. That would have been a good idea to actually go up in shifts.
All right.
Oh, God.
off to a great start.
You know what? Everybody needs to stretch their skills and abilities once in a while. You can't live by the numbers on a sheet. You have to live through your heart.
No, that's not how D&D works.
Yeah, you're thinking of Pathfinder, I think.
Yeah,
No.
Also, no.
Since 1982, and I've been doing it just the way I do it here, and I've only died once in this game, as far as you know. And that was a skeleton attack. Except for those other times when I died. Those were different.
All right. So, who climbs
Last
up
time.
the tower first?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun. I'm up at the top of the tower.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Ket?
Yep.
Can you hear me, Sparkle? Little Sparkle. Yep. All right.
Say, crap. Did we already screw this up?
Well, we did make a plan, so clearly something is about to go horribly wrong.
So I guess put on a hat and try to look like someone inconspicuous.
Yeah, you can put on a hat and have the hat turned into a salamander mask, like the flyman, like gas mask, and then look like a guy in a gas mask and jumpsuit. There's plenty of those around.
Cool.
I shall do that as well. Matching tag team attire.
Yep.
I will be invisible.
That's the next step. I don't know, dude. Should we go? Well, yes, because they'll see us if we pop over there.
Mm-hmm.
So, all
We're
right.
going to be invisible.
Quaff the potions, hop on through.
Well, I'll go through. She'll go over. You'll go beyond.
Yes. I'll go around.
Yep.
Fifth dimensionally.
You'll actually, fifth dimensionally, you'll go before and after.
Yep. So everybody, I'm not gonna. Sparkle has the wall walkers, right?
Yep.
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, you can just run up the wall and come down the other side, and I mean, presumably the other guys might be on the other side by now. By the time you come down, it's hard to tell. Everybody's invisible right now.
But I look cool.
Take me like 6 seconds longer to get over there than Sakar.
But since you're traveling in time, you can actually get there before.
I'm pretty sure this power doesn't work that way.
Send a telepathic message. Everyone clear?
Yeah. Assuming I'm there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, we're here.
Okay.
Do we see her or no? Because
she's invisible.
Sneaky. All right,
She's
true.
invisible.
That
Do we
too.
feel her?
So, you do hear her, and you hear each other,
Okay.
but you can't see each other. I will say that definitely Sakar, being somewhat familiar with Randos's time shenanigans, he does actually kind of manage to spot a little
Shimmer.
temporal glitch of roughly where Randos probably is.
Nice.
Just out of the corner.
But, it's gone immediately, yeah. They're just, it's something that you've seen before.
Is there somewhere we can hunker down and rest up and recharge our abilities here?
Actually, the best possible place to do that is just, put your back against the wall and wait.
Sounds like a plan. Wait.
Are we able to see or hear anything from where we are?
Yeah. So essentially, you get to the other side of the wall, and you are in this massive plaza. There are, I think I said, essentially 3 major bunker buildings, and the farthest one looks different. It looks, it also has kind of this sort of roundish shape, but all the other ones seem like they're good for people to walk in through one side and locust tanks to walk in and out of the other side. The farthest one looks different. It looks like a different facility. There are plenty of people who are just dressed up like flymen and have their little zappers, and they're just walking around in formation, just patrolling the area. There are others that seem to be coming and going either between the bunkers or to that other building or into the archive itself. You guys are essentially coming in from the east. The main entrance into this district is in the south. So basically, to get in, you'd come in through that very first district and head north until you get to this area, which I think... nope, I'm turned around. The mountains, because the mountains are on the east side. So turn that around.
Okay.
You'd come in through the... So you guys are on the west side, still enter in through the south, though. So just east and west, I flipped them.
So if we enter from the west, the entrance is to our right.
You enter from the west, the entrance is to your right, yes.
Okay. I have this clear in my head.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to ask one of those questions that makes both Rob and Samantha immediately yell, no. But I want to preface this by saying, don't yell no, because I'm not considering doing this. I'm actually asking as a player knowledge for me as a player.
Sure.
Would pilfering something off of someone on the other side, say trying to steal one of their lightning rods, cancel the invisibility?
It wouldn't cancel it. It only goes away when you attack, but basically
there's a likelihood of getting caught.
Anything that you do while invisible is itself visible. So if you lift something, there'll be a little floaty gun, at least for maybe a turn until the universe clicks the rules over and now you are wielding it.
Okay.
And then it becomes invisible along with you, maybe. So yeah, any doors that you guys open, any clipboards that you lift off of a nail on the wall, anything like that is going to be visible for a little bit, at least until you conceal it within your person or something like that. But unless you specifically try to trip someone or stab them or something like that, the invisibility should hold.
Okay.
And then, it becomes a question of what do you want to do? If you do want to, say, open a door while you're invisible, is it better to try to do it quick while nobody's watching, or become visible, rely on your bluff, and just walk into a door like you belong there?
But once we're visible, there's no going back.
Correct.
Right. Okay. Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
So telepathically, Sparkle will communicate. You two regain your magics or whatever. I'm going to start scouting and see if I can find a good path for us to go.
Yeah.
All right.
Lean here and rest for 5 minutes.
Okay. So what's Little Sparkle trying to find?
So I'm starting to get a closer look at some of what these coil operatives are doing, if they have any clipboards or ID badges or check-in stations.
The only check-in stations are essentially so the building is at the center of the of this plaza, and then there's a moat around it, if you guys will recall, and there's some bridges that lead into it. So the only real checking stations are at the entrance of the district, in the barracks, and at each of the bridges.
And the building in the middle of the moat, that is, in fact, the Black Archive?
That is, in fact, the Black Archive, yes.
Cool. And how far is it from the wall?
We'll say maybe 200 yards.
Okay, not that far.
No.
The barracks themselves, are the doors open or are they shut?
They are open.
Okay.
Each of the barracks seems to have also a place in the back for tanks to come out of. Most of those are shut. They're like big, like metal gates that you'd raise and lower, but the entrances themselves are open. There's just like a guy or girl. It's hard to tell under the jumpsuits. They're kind of just sitting there checking people's badges or whatever as they walk in and out. Okay.
Does there seem to be free movement effectively between the barracks areas and the archive? I mean, obviously they have to check in, but are soldiers moving in and out of the archive?
You don't see too many people coming in and out of the archive. Most of the movement seems to be between the barracks or as patrols. Every once in a while, you do see someone either come to the checkpoint and head straight for the archive, and very rarely you see soldiers come out of the barracks and move into the archive, and same thing the other way around. Every once in a while, you see maybe 3 or 4 soldiers come out of the archive and head for the barracks.
Got it. Then, I'm going to specifically try to observe if the people going to and from the archives have any special insignia or weapons or anything that would distinguish them as the type of people that can go in there.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a stealth check just so you can get nice and close and not be, not cause people to like look over their shoulders really quick and stuff.
Sure thing. That's going to be a 39 stealth check.
It's pretty good. There's not necessarily any unifying insignia, but it is kind of rank insignia, like nothing except like super high up military types and scientists and bureaucrats go into the archive.
Okay. Do they ever seem to kind of like, do they come in as a party? I'm trying to kind of like with a mind of an excuse we can use to get our group in.
Sometimes, but it's usually pairs of maybe scientist or bureaucrat types that go in. It doesn't seem insane for a group of 4 or 5 to walk in at a time, but it is rare and would probably cause people to pay attention, not immediately sound an alarm, but it is a larger group than usual. Squadrons of 5 soldiers, though, do move around this place relatively freely, obviously in their little formation and in a clear kind of like pattern. So if you wanted specifically a group of 5 that's not going to raise any eyebrows, you'd have to go with soldiers, but getting into the archive might be more challenging. A group of 5 bureaucrats or scientists or a mix of those would probably, cost like, like the supervisor types. They're like looking around, and the underlings can usually handle things, but if something important happens, they like walk over and be like, what's this about?
Sure.
I mean, you've been there. You've been then in the coil. That's how they do things. That's how you get promotions.
It's like being there to pay attention to something that's slightly odd.
Yeah, looking interested at the right time is basically how people advance.
good system. All right, then I'm going to try to case a group or like a pair that comes out of the archive and see, just follow them for a bit, basically see what they do, where they check in, if they flash specific badges anywhere, and try to get as good a look at one of their badges as possible.
Okay. In the meantime, what do Randus and Sakar do?
We're by a wall.
Yep. Still invisible?
Intently.
Still invisible.
Okay.
And we will remain invisible until we do something.
Sparkle will keep reporting back telepathically.
Okay.
We're going to use the skills that we're good at.
Are we?
So, yes. We have excellent perception.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to look and listen and scan and such.
Keep watch.
In ways that do not require us to have massive stealth checks.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys are going to just kind of listen and look at things from throw big air quotes on safe distance.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion is not problematic while invisible, right? People can hear you if you make noise.
Yeah, that's the thing is, if you sprint, people are going to look around to hear where those footsteps are coming from. But if you're just kind of moving at a normal pace and you don't bump into anyone, you can pretty much walk around without having to make a stealth check. If you want to get right up on someone and check their ID or listen in on a conversation or something like that, then it might be a bigger issue. But that's something that you can also counteract with perception. So why don't both of you go ahead and give me a perception check, and we'll see what you can see.
29.
Okay.
Well, mine as well, or?
Yep.
All right. 33.
Okay. So, Sakar and Randus do some spotting and listening. Sakar, unfortunately, although he does a good job of listening, hears pure on pointless minutia from some bureaucrats. They're just talking about money and where moving
TPS
this to that account or something
sheet.
like that. Yep. Randus does get something useful from the guards. It sounds like they basically do swap out whole sections of the guard every once in a while, basically send them out for, essentially R&R after a certain period of time. And it's possible that one of them is drawing close, but you can't quite get it exactly. You'd probably need to get into one of the barracks and check actual schedules to figure that out. But this is something that you can convey to Sparkle.
Yep, I relay that to the group.
Very cool. Then I will make them my target of observation.
There you
go. Okay. Well, it sounds like these guys are going out, but they're not, when you get closer to them, from what they're saying, they're not super helpful about who's coming back in to replace them or anything like that. They just, seem excited to go flush their money down the toilet at the local casino.
Interesting. But I didn't see anyone any sign of a changing of the guard in effect.
No, not from these guys. They're just kind of doing. These guys are essentially coming from one of the barracks to another. They seem to be maybe not necessarily off duty, but they're not actively patrolling. They're doing something. They were sent to move supplies from one end of the to the other or something.
Okay.
Also, we'll say that Randus also catches somebody talking about the water problem. But that's all they mention.
Something about a water problem.
Noted.
Maybe Sakar might want to get near the moat and see if he can figure out if there's something actively wrong with the water, if there's animals living in it.
All right. Sakar shall move quietly yet fiercely.
Okay.
Towards the water.
That's literally how Sakar always walks.
Right.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to describe it. It's the flavor text that makes all the difference.
Okay, so you get up to the moat. Just kind of like cut like wide arcs around anybody who's walking in that direction, and it doesn't. You don't run into any problems.
Are there any visual indications of an issue?
Not that you can tell. I mean, from what you've seen, like this moat is just constantly churning water. It's not still. It's just like constantly. That could be part of the problem. You don't know, but nobody seems immediately like nobody's like sitting there like poking at it, like being like, "Oh no, how do we stop this thing from churning?" That seems to more or less be either a known issue that nobody's worried about at this point, or something that's supposed to happen.
You know what water is a part of?
What?
Nature.
Yeah.
Can you do nature checks while invisible?
Sure. What exactly are you trying to do with said nature check?
Well, I think the question is going to be when they say water problem, and there doesn't seem to be anything going on with the water, anything that might be a poison or an issue or a thing. Maybe it's a question of where the water is going or where the water is coming from.
Sure.
So I'm going to see if maybe there's some sort of occlusion or some sort of, like issues where they've dammed up inappropriately, or they're having, they're trying to move water one place in a thing.
Well, I think we previously heard from Teach, or possibly from someone else that Sparkle had spoken to, that the water was all churny to keep people from coming in through the sewers.
Right, and furthermore, I mean, further investigation isn't crazy. The thing is, though, is like this is not a natural water system, so this would be probably either an Arcana or a Thievery check to inspect the mechanisms. If you wanted to do something a little bit more mystical with the water, then it would be, using your nature powers. But as you know, spirits can be weirdly unpredictable. So summoning something out of this water to talk to it could
be visible.
Yeah, could be visible. But just immediately from your inspection, you would imagine that the water problem is not readily visible from the moat. Nobody seems to be concerned about the moat right now.
Okay. Then I shall make my way back to the area of the walls in a sneaky manner.
Okay. Let me get a perception check from Orem and Kat.
All right.
Perception, you say?
Perception, he
Perception,
says.
I say.
Perception, he says.
28.
Okay.
That's a good roll.
That'll probably be better than mine.
Is your perception not good?
It's not terribly good. 28.
All right.
So, wait a minute. Hold on.
Oh. Mine is actually one better than his.
But you rolled one less. So,
Yep. Then again, I forgot that only Orem is up the tower right now.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
But that's okay, because we have 28s to spare.
Hooray!
Were you trying to find something, Steven?
No, I guess it's only during battle that my jagged longsword and would give me a critical on a 19 or 20, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, actually, if you'll recall, nat 20s like literally don't exist in this
Right.
System except in battle. That's actually a house rule of mine.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm at 28.
Okay.
I want swords to be so sharp that they let you crit your perception checks.
Yeah,
mine actually is, but
that's an interesting
charm.
That's an interesting story space that D&D tends to shy away from.
Yeah.
like things that are kind of like what I want to say, like sympathetic type powers, like having a sword so sharp that it makes you smarter or something like that.
Yeah.
Like you don't. That's something that D&D usually doesn't do.
Yeah. Perception so good that you can smell that someone broke their arm.
Right, stuff like that. There are other games for that. Also, I'd let you guys do that with like a particularly good perception check anyway. But being on top there, Orem spots people moving directly from that fourth non-barrack looking building directly back into the archive.
Okay, I pass the information along. Everyone, there's people moving from the non-barrack into the archive.
How many?
I don't know. Dozen?
Oh, wow. Okay. I'll check it out.
So, it's like a handful of scientist-looking types with clipboards and actually like little like beaker type things that they're looking at.
They look like a bunch of Randuses.
and a contingent of soldiers escorting them back as well.
Randus is a battle nerd, thank you. They are different.
Battle nerd smash.
Okay. And they're now moving from not barrack building into the archive?
Correct.
Got it. Well, that sounds like an excellent time to figure out what they're doing in that not barrack building. So I'm going to go check it out.
Okay.
Sneaky.
Well, it looks like that building gets secured after they leave, but it has a slow and ponderous like security door. So I'll tell you this: if you want, you can sprint over there and dive in under the mysterious door, or you can let it shut.
I'm going to dive in to the mysterious door.
Dive.
Okay.
Sprint and dive.
You sprint and dive under the mysterious door, and you find yourself in a very large building that is kind of just a big single circular room. At the center of it is what appears to be an enormous water tank that goes down several stories. The water is maybe about a third of how much water can be kept here. There's a couple kind of sciencey looking types looking at it. There are no soldiers in here. But most importantly, the tank itself has kind of this thing right at the center of it, which appears to be some sort of like input. This whole place is lit with kind of self-sustaining light orbs. It just, those guys are like looking at the water level and checking clipboards and, walking around and science.
She'll telepathy back. I think I might have found the water problem. There's some kind of tank in here somewhat filled with water, and the scientists are all very interested in it.
Is there something in the water?
Just a device, as far as I can tell. I will kind of sneak and try to see if they talk to each other, see if I can get a glimpse of what they're writing that I can maybe broadcast back to Randus for translation.
What they have on their clipboards relates to it says in all caps at the top of it, Project Radiant Tomorrow logs. And from what you can tell, it's this place is a separate water source. they use some sort of acronym for it, but you can more or less tell that they're referring to the water here. And Radiant Tomorrow seems to require a lot more of whatever this type of water is than they normally use.
I have not heard this project name before, have I?
You have heard this project name before.
Okay, is this the name of the LEC project?
Yep.
Great.
Oh boy.
They're working on LEC's project out here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. Sounds like a place to sabotage.
Well, if we sabotage it now, we tip our hands.
Mm-hmm.
But these people would have access to LEC, presumably, if they're working on it. So I think we found our covers.
I suppose so.
Okay. I'm going to try to get as much information as possible in terms of what we'll need to do to imitate these guys, and wait for the door to open again so I can get out of here.
Okay.
If you could procure some documentation, that might help.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Give me a stealth check.
Absolutely. It's 46.
Good God.
That's pretty good.
Oh.
Basically, it just involves, that's just because there's a tank at the center, and then there's this circular walkway around it, and there's not a lot of room.
Sure.
So Sparkle has to do a lot of shuffling, quietly shuffling around people as they walk past her.
Mm-hmm. With invisibility, if I say pulled out my little magic item that takes perfect copies of things, would it be floating in the air, or would it not be because I'm holding it?
It wouldn't be, but obviously anything that you are taking a copy of, if you handle it, that would be. But no, any item that you have is invisible as well.
Okay. Then yeah, I'll try to just take meticulous notes of what they're writing, so that I can provide it to Randus.
Okay.
And possibly if I see any of them have special insignia on them or ID badges, I will take note of that as well for possible future forging.
Okay. They do, and now that you've gotten a look at several ID badges, you find that most of the badges here have, basically all except for the soldiers, who just have a different system of badges. All of their badges have some sort of little stone on them, which potentially could be enchanted in some way. So that's kind of an additional layer of concern there.
Got it. If one of them is unattended, and
they are not. You do not see any unattended badges.
Okay, fair enough. Darn. And I can't thievery check one that is on one of these guys.
You could.
So,
but hope for a good thievery check.
Hope for a good. What kind of thievery check would be good?
We'll say if you get it into the
60s.
No. I'd let you do it with a 31.
Okay.
I do that on average.
Yeah.
I am going to basically wait until the door starts opening again, so that if this goes sideways, I can try to run out as soon as possible.
Okay.
Smart.
And then also because it's possible that the horrible ratchety noise of the mechanical thing might provide a bit of a distraction to help me with a thievery check.
Sure. So while Little Sparkle waits for that, what do the rest of you do?
The group that are heading for the archive.
Uh-huh.
How close could I get to them in a listening capacity?
That depends on depending on what you want to give me. With a stealth check that is successful, you could get very close. With a perception check, you don't have to get that close, and you can still potentially hear what they're saying.
My perception is so much better than my stealth.
Okay, so you can basically
50%.
You can basically try to flank them without getting right up on them, and try to listen as you move along. Because people are kind of giving these guys a wide berth anyway, so you're not likely to run into someone while you're doing that.
Okay, so I shall attempt to get close enough to listen in a perception-y way.
Okay.
And that will look like a 20.
No.
Okay.
I hate roll 20.
Yeah, you've been rolling low this session, definitely. Man, again, it's just like all these guys are talking about is like individual values of things, and they use a lot of acronyms, so it's hard to tell what they're even talking about. You can relay this information to everybody else, but
the gentleman
at least
says that he's looking at the weenus and he does not like it.
Yep. It's like,
did you write that down, Ket?
Yes.
I think it's spelled WEEENUS and an E.
Okay.
It's a very complex acronym.
Yes. There's a reason why
water, electrolyte, eldrin,
you hope
idiocy. Not. Oh, sorry.
They're using Eldrin juice.
That explains what's happened to all the Eldrin.
Water. We've moved straight from Iron Age into Nuclear Age.
Into they've meddled in God's domain.
We've moved into Soylent Green.
Yep. So Sakar follows those people. What does Randus do in the meantime?
I think I'm just gonna try. Well, I can't see him. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna stick near the wall and keep an ear out for noises of distress or alarm.
Okay. So
try to cover an exit, more or less. I guess.
Okay. You guys are sitting there, listening for things, doing things, and it really seems like Little Sparkle has been in that bunker a while.
Everything going good, Sparkle?
Yep, I'm just waiting for my opportunity to get out of here.
All right. Just checking.
I'm going to try to steal a pass as I leave. They seem to have these magical passes that they have a stone in it, which might be magical. We can try to figure it out if we can analyze one.
That'd probably be a good idea.
Everyone else doing okay?
Hopefully they don't, lock these guys in all night. That would be unfortunate.
Yeah, considering we don't know when they're going to return.
Yeah.
Do we see anything happening in the repository?
Nope. Not so far. Just more movement around the plaza.
Does there seem to only be that one door out of this structure?
There might be another way out. There is a ladder that leads to kind of the ceiling type area. There might be like a hatch or something up there.
Would it take what kind of check would it take to basically climb the ladder without shaking the ladder?
Oh, you can just do it if you're careful.
I mean, is there anyone else in that room with you?
Yeah, there's two guys.
Oh, okay.
There's two scientists.
Yeah, then I'll climb up the ladder and check that situation out.
Okay. Well, there's not any sort of obvious hatch, except for the fact that once you're up there, you realize that the whole ceiling of this thing, or the whole dome roof, opens up.
Oh. Is it? Oh. It's is it currently closed or?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Interesting. Little Sparkle, does it look like that device is set to throw out a wide beam for this entire plaza?
I don't know. I mean, does this look like your death laser deployment center, or does it like open up like a planetarium opens up?
I guess more like a planetarium if those are your two reference points. All that you see here is a tank with some pipes coming out of it. Like you really don't see anything else.
I'm honestly not really sure what it does.
I would be concerned that it sounds like they've progressed further than we thought with Lex device.
Do you think they're trying to take the entire plaza to the next world?
Yes.
Oh,
because they have all their weapons, they have all their troops. What a great way to create an invasion force!
Wow, I hadn't even thought about that. But
that's concerning.
Nothing about Lex device used this water, so it's possible that this is all a diversion on his part.
It could be. Rodrigo, is there anything in the layout from what I can see up on top of the building that looks like there's any kind of a pattern to this layout that would indicate like a larger machinery complex, like what I'm describing, is this a giant teleport unit?
Not obviously. Presumably from the technology that you've seen, that sort of thing, or rather, if they are doing that, then it must all be happening underground because that stuff would be really obvious, especially because time-wise, this place would have presumably started building this place before all of this went down. Therefore, they wouldn't necessarily have built it to also be a dimension hopping fortress. So if they're doing this stuff, then they're not doing it above ground.
Okay.
Can I tell how one would open this thing?
Yeah, there's probably a mechanism somewhere at like down normal level, and the whole thing like opens up like a flower. Like it's a dome, but it like basically think of it as like individual triangles that come in at one point, so it would all open. They would all flower out like that.
Got it.
So the question is, if the roof opens, is that to allow something out or to allow something in?
I have no idea.
It would probably raise all sorts of alarms if you were to simply open the roof.
Oh, yeah. Do there seem to be like, I mean, A, what time of day is it? And B, do these guys seem equipped to effectively like sleep here?
It is probably afternoon, and no.
Okay.
No, there's like no room in here. I mean, they could just curl up on the ground, but
sure.
No, there don't seem to be cots, and there don't seem to be other rooms. There's just this room.
Okay. I'm gonna keep waiting it out for now.
Okay. How much time has passed, Rodrigo?
Probably at this point a couple hours.
Okay. We've only got a couple of hours left before this spell completely goes kaput. So...
Hello?
Oh. Yeah.
So if the spell runs out, Little Sparkle, we won't be able to communicate with you.
Oh, right. Sorry, how long did you say it'll take?
A couple more hours, probably.
Okay. Well, we'll check back in every like half an hour or so and keep in communication. If we start getting too close to the duration ending, then we can come up with another plan
burn
potentially.
That bridge when we come to it.
Okay.
Exactly.
Which ritual is this?
We had the 8 hours on the
roll,
on the magic circle, whatever it is. I don't have my spell book here. because it doesn't print out in the D&D character builder.
If one were, say, scoping out the entrances and exits to the Black Archive, one would not see anything resembling a window or anything of that nature.
No, this building does not appear to have any windows.
So it's like a blockhouse, basically.
Yep, it's basically a big rectangular prism. The top handful of floors seem to have this like glowing red filigree around what you would imagine is the floor part of them.
And the doors are...
There appears to be one door, and it has a couple of soldier types standing at it, and you can't see very far inside, but there appears to be, essentially a corridor and maybe a place for you to check your rune or whatever.
Is there any chance that I could see more if I were to get closer?
Sure.
But would getting closer mean that I would get noticed?
Sure.
So if I mean, that's
you tell me how close you want to get, and I'll
tell you how quickly they track you down,
and I'll set the difficulty for the check.
I would like,
and that by the way would be a stealth check.
A stealth check, you say?
Mm-hmm.
And
Roll20 hates me.
I don't think it does.
Oh, it does.
It's an inanimate object. It doesn't have feelings.
Yeah, we said that about you for years.
Oh, too mean.
Probably true.
That was too mean.
Telepathic bond, 8 hours is the max.
Can I get close enough to see if I can use my excellent eyes and ears without having to stealth my way around?
Not really. I mean, this is a dark corridor inside a building, so it's not really going to help you much. It's like if you think about it, it's darker inside the building, and also it's noisier out here, so it's very difficult to just trust on your eyes of the eagle to get you through.
Would failing a stealth check mean that I would obviously get noticed, lit on fire, and burst into flames and all like that?
No, failing a stealth check would basically, because you're still invisible, it would just get people to start looking for what made that noise, essentially. But it would essentially like it would like put up like a star in your heads up display. Until you can find a garage to drive into.
Flashing. Yeah.
The screen would glow a little red.
Yep.
You know what? Fortune favors the bold. I shall attempt to stealth my way up and see if I can see closer inside in a stealthy manner.
Roll it.
All right. You ready?
Yep.
22!
Okay.
That's better than the last roll!
Yeah, that's not the worst you could have done.
Thanks.
So, Sakar gets a little closer and you can see down, and there is a corridor with like just essentially a door, and on one side of it is a like a circle, like a little little port essentially, and it is right about the right size for that rune you guys got before. And as you're basically looking in, scrutinizing it, one of the guards takes a step towards you, basically is, just within inches of your face, and seems to be like leaning forward, like looking for something. And he's like, to the other one, he's like, did you hear that? And the other guy's like, well, what was it? Like, it sounded like, I don't know, breathing. And he's just kind of like looking around. And the other guy's like, well, they said to call it in. So he walks over to one of the walls and opens a little panel, and there's actually like a little like basically like a little receiver kind of thing, like an old-timey phone that he like extends over to his mask, and says, we just got a 6, so if you guys just want to do a quick security check, that would be fine. And he just puts it back and just says like, well, it's probably nothing, but I think it makes us look good, to like call things in and stuff. And the guy's like, yeah.
All right. I pass along that they are making a security check without telling everyone that I'm the one who caused it.
Okay. Fortunately, no one can see that it was totally you. So a couple of guys Orem can spot this. A couple of guys can, or we'll say maybe Kat can spot this. You guys have probably switched at this point.
Yeah.
Kat can see that a couple of soldiers are heading over to the place where Sparkle is.
Sparkle, 2 soldiers are headed your direction.
Oh, perfect. Maybe they'll open the door.
Be careful.
Yeah, I will.
And sure enough, you start hearing the door's mechanisms open.
All right. Then as soon as the door mechanism starts opening, I'm going to make my thievery check to snag one of the passcodes from whichever scientist looks the most engrossed in staring at water.
One of their badges.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, give me a thievery check.
Absolutely. That's a 25. So I am going to use I'm going to. I'll start off by using. I'm going to just go ahead and action point to reroll that. If that's a situation I can do that with right now.
I'll allow it.
Okay, cool. Then, because I am a jack of all trades, I actually get a +5 to the skill check when I spend an action point.
That works.
Nice.
Which is pretty useless in combat. So.
Oh, wow.
Nice. Nat 20 for 47.
All right. Yep, that guy doesn't even notice that you totally stole his badge.
Great.
The door opens and 2 soldiers walk in. He's like, just a security check. It's like, starts like looking around. Walks over to the tank, checks the tank, and looks over at one of the scientists and says, "Where's your ID?" And the guy like pats himself on the chest and is like,
"That's my cue. I'm gonna try to use that opportunity to run like hell out of here."
Okay. They seem engrossed in trying to find this guy's ID, so nobody seems to stop you.
All right, then we'll send a telepathic message back. They realize I stole the ID. Well, they don't realize it was me, but they realize an ID is missing, so everyone get back now.
Roger.
Before this gets locked down.
At the wall. Wait for you all to get there.
And I start making for the wall.
Okay. Security is a little tighter, but you guys managed to retain your invisibility, so the three of you managed to make it to the wall. Especially Randus, who never left the wall.
Caution also favors the something.
I figured I was just here in case things went bad. So
that's right.
Yep.
Are you on the other side of the wall yet?
Climb back over the wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they tell me they're there, I'm going.
Yep.
Everyone clear? Coming through.
Okay. The three of you, or rather the five of you, are now on the same side of the wall.
All right, that sounds like a good place to break this session. Thank you, everybody, for downloading and listening. If you have a question, podcast@majorspoilers.com. And until next time, here's hoping all of your dice rolls are critical hits.
This podcast is copyright 2016 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.
Is part of the Frog Pants Studios network. For more information about this and other shows, visit frogpants.com. Audio programs so good, it's like you're there.